What up? What up? I see the world as inside the cells that's inside of me. Prodigy. Living my life like I won the lottery. Because I did. I'm already, I knew my present's a gift and I'm rich. God's favored and born to be doing this. Yo, good morning. Good morning. I think I titled this Win the Morning. So we're going to get into Win the Morning today and why that's important, yo, and how that sets you up for the whole day and what it means actually. It meant something very different when I was a kid, and I've evolved it a bit for my purposes now. I want to share my insights on that. The last time I did an episode, it was like 2 days ago. I talked about being vulnerable. I talked about the game under the game. I'm always talking about the game under the game, right? I'm always talking about the meta process. There's a thing you're doing, and then there's the feelings, the energy, the identity, the intent that is underneath that. But I talked about vulnerability that day, and in order to hammer that home, a lot of times I like to talk about my own personal experiences. So I did that, and it was an interesting episode for me. Even at the time, it was interesting to get into it and to talk about myself and some of the things that I usually don't talk about, like some of the disappointments I've had in terms of like friend groups and like expectations of support in certain ways and all this stuff. I talked about um, my friend, I called her, I think, Susie, my friend in college, who very intentionally over 4 years, decided to never come to a football game of mine or something like this. And I, I wanted to talk about, and I did talk about letting go of that. Letting go of that. How did I let go of that? One, the easiest one is like, oh, you're, you know, time, so much time has passed. But deeper than that, when you look at the story, when I look at the reality of my time in college, it's it was brilliant. It was great. There were dozens, hundreds of other people who did show up to the games. I had dozens of friends who did show up and who loved Stony Brook football and who supported it, who were full of that. It's just funny how certain things, certain words and phrases, certain moments stick out. It's like contrast. You know what I mean? One of her things was like, "Oh, you got other girls who can go to the game," and she was right. She was right. Not just girls, but people, fans of the game, fans of me playing the sport. That was great, and I loved every second of that. But again, right, just being honest, being vulnerable about how noticing this kind of intentional lack of support was a lens and a kind of it gave me insight into I think what was going on at other points in my life. It came back up at other points in my adulthood when I felt unsupported. I felt that I was alone. I would go back to that story. I would go back to that story, that window, that frame that told me something that might not have been entirely true. As we've talked about on this show so much, that the stories we have are not the full thing. The stories are not the full thing. That other people are living their lives potentially, and other people are busy, and other people are unsure. Even they're unsure of how to support. We have things that are easy and simple. I'm doing something different and unique, and people don't know how to engage with that. Life is also lifing for people. You know what I mean? So all of that puts it into context that while at the time when I was a 21-year-old college student, I had a feeling of, it felt bad. It felt bad to have a friend be dismissive and disinterested in something that was very important to you. But it's not the thing. The other part of it is like fulfilled, like you know, it's an indication of me. It's an indication of my inner world, right? If, as I described, there's a whole thing that's going well, there's support, you're living a dream as a college football player. And then there's this longing because or it's incomplete somehow because there's a person who isn't present, who has chosen not to be present or whatever. Like, that's not how it goes. That's not how it went back then, and that's not how it is now. Um, the largest story is one of immense luck and support and immense privilege in this present moment. And any feeling of longing or feeling of lack or missing is a story that can be examined. We can see sort of its roots or where it came from. We can see that its roots are in me. in the person experiencing that feeling. Um, and I can notice myself, and I can learn to enjoy what is. Enjoy what is. You might call it a silver lining kind of deal, but I don't even like silver linings. Like there's a cloudy day, but at least there's a silver lining. I don't even like that because it's just it feels really slim and narrow. The cloud is much bigger than the lining. More than that, what is miraculous and lucky, and an offhanded comment, a someone who isn't into the shit you're doing, like that's gonna happen. That's what life is, and it's everywhere. And it indicates your focus. It indicates your mind. And so this is where we're coming back into the win the morning thing, right? Because what I do in the mornings, every morning now, I've been doing this for years, is I close my mind. I'm sorry, I open my mind. I close my eyes. I open my mind and I notice my assumptions. I notice these feelings of lack, these feelings of longing. I try to give language to them. I rewrite them. I rewrite them because we've talked about how assumptions lead, identity leads. People see what they assume first. They don't see you. They don't see your fullness. They don't see the full complex human that you are, and that you are so complex, that you evolve over time, and that you have an intuition that, apart from whatever they think they see, when they see a category of a black male or a woman or a white man or whatever they see, and the categories and assumptions they have, that you are much deeper than that, and your intuitions go far more vast than that. And so when I incorporate that, I can rewrite my assumptions. I can rewrite the things that make me nervous. And I can notice that when I am looking out into the world and I am making assumptions, that I want a clean slate. I want a clean slate. I want to live present. I don't want to be attached to definitions of the past. Like I said, if someone didn't show support for, like when I was running a news magazine several years ago, if I felt that there was some support needed there, the lens, the story for what's happening, it would pull me back to other stories. It would pull me back to. I tried to explain it through the little windows of understanding that I had. Um, but that is just a story, and what's more important is to, like, instead of chasing or looking to accommodate, how can I accommodate this? How can I pull that one person who isn't into my shit? How can I reach them somehow? What words do I need to say? What persona do I need to adopt, or something like this? This is all sort of it's a natural human tendency, it seems. I think we learn this stuff as children, but it's a perversion of what is. You end up sacrificing yourself. You end up sacrificing your true self. Um, because you aren't present, because you are perceiving lack. And that's why we've been done so much of what we talked about letting go and rewriting your story. But the morning's a great time to do it because you've just woken up. You've had several hours of sleep. Your mind is open. Maybe you've had some crazy dreams, who knows? And your mind is open. You're not bogged down by the stories of the day. You haven't been watching, the cable news stuff. And so you have an opportunity for a clear head. And so I win the morning by clearing all of the mental chatter and starting with assumptions of wholeness. I start with assumptions of winning. Um, I start with the assumption that everything I do is a win, and I'm already loved, and I'm already well received, and I'm already supported. And that frees me up to not be in a state of anxiety, again, trying to appeal to something. I appeal to myself. I appeal to myself. And that frees me up then to talk about what I find interesting and to engage with what I find interesting and important and of value. Because what I find interesting and important of value is important and valuable. But the whole thing about the assumptions and the stories that we have, it's so key, it's so deep, bro. It is really powerful. It is, we don't have a proper grasp about what it means, the lens and the assumptions that we have, and how we perceive the world, and how that governs the assumptions about our perception and like the choices we make at the end of the day. I was just thinking about even in the context of this video, like noticing about myself. Like I said, that last episode felt vulnerable. It felt awkward. It's easier for me to talk about political and philosophical concepts. It's a bit harder for me to talk about myself on a personal level. It's a bit harder, and it felt vulnerable, right? I developed a long time ago a thing where I just don't, I just do my thing. I don't publicly complain. I don't publicly talk about this kind of angst or this kind of like, I think I saw either a friend or a family member several years ago with whatever they were doing. They were mad and went on Facebook and did a rant complaining that their friends don't support them. And they were like, fuck yeah, you don't support this, that. And I remember looking at that like, ugh, that's exactly how I don't want to engage. So I saw that as such a hard contrast. And I realized, that is not the aim. That's not how we approach things, to like lash out at the world, right? This person has a bunch of assumptions about what's going on in the world and that they're not receiving enough love, and that so what happens is this focus on that, I said, I'm going to focus on my art. I'm just going to create. I'm going to create. And it's great. It was a kind of work that made me better, so I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for that. But the last episode on vulnerability was me foraying into it a bit and being a bit more honest about some of my inner workings, right? But these are the assumptions. Even the story, even in that video, the energy and the vulnerability, this angst, this fear, let's say, that's me doing that. That's my assumptions. It's not serious. It's not serious. In the video, I want to convey something, but I don't want to seem needy. I don't want to seem attached. I don't feel attached. I want to show a genuine sort of like nuanced sort of thing about a moment when I felt vulnerable or felt unsupported. But the thing is this, with that in my mind, that idea of the seriousness of it and the vulnerability of it, there's a certain like heart rate that comes with that. There's a certain tone and a certain pace that comes with me when I come here and I think I'm talking about something serious. This is me noticing myself now after doing YouTube and doing videos like these for years now. Sometimes there's like a political topic or a personal topic that my whole bodily functions shift in ways that are very subtle. The breathing and the pace and the tone, and do I have room for a joke? Do I even feel a joke possible, even though it's right there? Or am I trying to convey something more serious? And so that's wild to notice. Okay, if I'm talking about heart rates and breathing and tone and pace and a mindset and like that whole thing, we might call that a vibration. This whole thing is a vibration. There's a version of me that exists when I'm a bit more serious, a bit more concerned, a bit more trying to convey something in particular. And then there's another version of me that is just conversational and having fun and is noticing what a blessing that I get to get up in the morning and go on my porch and turn on my camera and convey messages to hundreds of people, potentially thousands, potentially millions of people, and to convey not just any messages, but messages that are true to me, messages that speak to my intuition, things that I've been thinking about for a long time, things that I've been feeling. um, over this technology, and to bring the stakes way down, because it's like that. The reality is a thing, and then there's tiers of experience, values, tiers and of um, whatever we want to call it, seriousness, ease, intensity, and to notice like which of those tiers, when I tap into them, brings out the best result, brings out the most confident, articulate, free, fun having, which produces the best response and energy, where I'm enjoying the condition. You know what I mean? Because I'm in control, not the condition. Very grateful to notice that. And when I'm able to do that, I've won the morning. I started the morning off right. Now, when things happen in the world, I have a conditioned orientation of peace and confidence that things are okay, that I can navigate this, that I can have fun. um, that's super key, and I want to just share that with you. Win the morning, win the morning, win the day. All right? Defined by you, defined for you, for your benefit. I see the God in you, yo. Hope you have a great fucking day. One True King comes out on Saturday. Check my socials. One True King is coming out on Saturday. 8 tracks on the new EP. It'll be on my website and on Bandcamp and on all the streaming stuff. Check it out. Support me. Buy the album, the digital album. Play it, share it, and win the morning. All right? I see the God in you, and I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.